Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you very much for joining me here today. I hope you're having an amazing day. Now, this is your one-stop shop for cryptocurrency analysis, among other things. Now, we're taking a look at Bitcoin Diamond. I got a lot of requests from my community to go ahead and cover this based on its recent price action. It is quite interesting how it's progressed over the years, months, etc. It's just been unique movements, to say the least. So we'll take a closer look at that. This is a technical analysis. There's no fundamentals here. We really just look at the technical charts to understand, best practice, help you find a good entry point. Furthermore, I'm not a financial advisor. This is for educational purposes only. You should always do your own research. And with that being said, I do have a link to my Telegram community, Patreon account. If you'd like to show your support, that is down below. $25 in Bitcoin from Voyager application, as well as many other awesome options. So feel free to reference that in your own time. Furthermore, I am going to start doing more live streams. I did my first one this last weekend. More to come, of course. Those are likely going to start off on the weekends and transition to the weekdays once things pick up. I also have a Signal group that I'm creating here soon. That'll be part of my premium Patreon account, so you can go ahead and reference that again later. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and get right to it. All right, folks, let's go ahead and take a look at Bitcoin Diamond. And before we do, we always look at Bitcoin and Ethereum first, just to kind of get a baseline of the market, see what's going on, and then we'll work our way down from the one-day chart all the way to the 1 minute, kind of see if we can help you find a good entry point, and obviously learn a little bit of best practice along the way. So first and foremost, let's go ahead and take a look at Bitcoin itself. So Bitcoin, this is the 4-hour chart we're going to take a look at. And I always just like to note with the 4-hour chart here, we've got a major support and resistance levels. The support is 30,000, even though it looks like 31,000 was tested recently. That's more of a secondary support, but it was tested twice in the past couple of weeks. So good news is we held at 31,000 for a second time. The resistance level is 42,000 approximately. So that's like the next major resistance. Now let's go ahead and turn on the moving averages. And I always like to use the 50 and the 100-day moving averages, okay? Correction, I'm sorry, the 50 and the 200-day moving average. This purple line is the 200, which has come down really quick, really fast. We are likely going to see what happens here soon if we can get see if that works as a resistance level too, because it'll continue to go downwards here. So we should see the 200 just kind of continue to smooth out. And if all goes well, the 50 comes up, and we get a golden cross, and that works as a support level to drive the price, above that moving average, and eventually to break 42,000. All right, so that's kind of what's going on with the 200. The 50-day moving average is working now as a support. Surprisingly, it broke above there and came right back. So, I mean, we've got a really fast return here for Bitcoin, which is good. So we're looking to be pretty good shape there. So, just pay attention to how the price action continues. We should likely stay over the 50-day moving average moving forward, but it's still a little too early to tell. Okay, that is Bitcoin, and let's look at Ethereum next. And Ethereum is effectively performing, again, very similarly in the recent past. It hasn't recovered quite as quickly as Bitcoin has, but I think it's just because we're all kind of a bit gun shy. It's like, is it going to fake us out again? What's going on? So that's essentially where we're at with Ethereum. The price is trying to move up, and we'll see if that breaks the 50-day moving average. But we have a major resistance at about 2,900, and I would say that the support level recently was tested at approximately 2320. Okay, so that's the most recent low. But all in all, pretty good shape for Ethereum. I would expect if we see a little bit more consolidation from Bitcoin, maybe the next day or two, we will see Ethereum ramp up and test this line up here. But again, everyone's just a little gun shy at the moment, not quite sure they want to invest in the altcoins, which is unfortunate, but it makes sense, right? So let's go ahead and take a look at Bitcoin Diamond. Let's go ahead and add it here. I'll pull this up. All right, so this is Bitcoin Diamond. As you can see, there's some interesting movement here, and I'm not familiar with the fundamentals. Again, this is a technical analysis only, but if you do have insight on why we saw this major spike, feel free to elaborate. But it does appear that not so long ago, in the not so distant past, we saw an increase significant from Bitcoin Diamond. Okay, now taking a look here, if we go ahead and take a look, see what the increase was here. So in approximately 24 hours, we've seen an 85% increase. Now, again, it rejected and the price isn't quite there at this time. We're probably only about 50 to 60% increase in the last 24 hours, but that's still some significant movement. Now, just take a quick look at the one-day chart, kind of see what's going on first. And as we can tell, a Bitcoin Diamond opened super strong and it's sold off obviously since then to have a strange period of consolidation. At least it looks strange when you zoom out this far. It almost looks like a straight line. And then obviously you get a little closer to the recent price action here. We'll look in the last couple of months and see what's going on. So we can see that we had consolidation mostly occurring up until April, and then in April, on the 6th and 7th, we saw a significant increase, followed by a retracement down about 50%, and then another major increase on what was that? What is that date? May 4th. Okay. So just quickly verify. So on the 17th of April, that was the first major sell-off from Bitcoin, and the 22nd. We did see a retracement here, so obviously we saw the price action come back down. And then interestingly enough, on the 4th, there was some type of catalyst to push the price way up. And then, what is it? I think it was May 12th was the Elon candle. Let's see what happened there. Yeah, so we got a red candle here for Elon. And then the 18th, that is the China candle here. So we did have, again, more retracement on those 2 dates. So it's not impervious, obviously, by any means. But it has a tendency of just ramping up really sharp, really fast on kind of random days as far as the technicals are concerned. But here's the interesting thing. It always continues to perform the same function. As you can see in the past, looking at this here, obviously it was driven really far down in January, but you see it ramp up and then it retraces 50% consolidation. Ramp up the same thing, another consolidation. You can see a similar pattern here forming, just, it shoots up randomly and then we get a consolidation and then it shoots up randomly, followed by a consolidation. This retraced much further than it should have because of the Elon and the China candle. So my guess here is right around the resistance, most recent resistance of, what would we call that? That is, you know what? Hold on. Let's look at the other chart here so we get more accurate, at least more accurate USD instead, because that's going to help us kind of understand the numbers here a little bit better. Okay. So let's, hold on, I don't like that one. Sorry. Bitcoin, gold, diamond, sorry. Bitcoin, diamond, USD. Here we go. So that makes more sense. I prefer to look at dollars instead of Bitcoin because my Satoshi numbers are not quite where they should be. It just makes more sense. So to make it simple, the resistance level right at about $4.50. That is approximately where the price action should be. That should most likely be a support level soon, because the fact that the price action should be somewhere in this range here. Again, I'm basing this off of its history, because patterns have a tendency of repeating themselves, but they don't always have to. But in cryptocurrency, specifically Bitcoins, anytime we see the price go up and it follows its own trend, it's likely to happen again. So if we see this here previously, see it increased, followed by a period of consolidation, then obviously the sell-off was because of the first major sell-off from Bitcoin on the 17th of April. The price should be in this range at this time, right? So this new ramp up drove the price up. Usually it settles around 50% of the way, but instead it got driven down by the Elon candle and the China candle here. So I guess what I'm getting at is that I think it's comfortable in saying that Bitcoin Diamond should have a price range of somewhere between $5 to $7, not sub $5, right? If that makes sense. So, if I were to give a prediction based on, Bitcoin performing, just say sideways over the next couple weeks, say it stays under 42 and above 38, for example, then we would expect to see Bitcoin Diamond jump up over $4.50, and that would become the new support. And we'll see a price action somewhere between $4.50 and $7. Again, that's based on the fact that in its history, when it increases, it consolidates roughly about 50% of the difference. Okay. So again, just an observation. Is that 100%? No, of course not. It could change, but I do feel like its history is telling us that it consistently performs like this. So we should expect to see that again moving forward. Now it could just retrace and stay down here for a little while, but if Bitcoin can get up to closer to 42, I think there's a strong likelihood that this one will take off again. All right, so looking at the 4-hour charts, just to quickly note, The price is under the 200-day moving average. That is working as a resistance level right now. So just bear that in mind. It could push the price down a little bit and then break above. That's commonly the norm. As you can see, it tried to shoot past the 200, but got rejected recently. Good news is the 50-day moving average is going to be working as a support moving forward, and the RSI is calming back down under 70. So there's a strong chance we're going to see some sideways action from Bitcoin Diamond, and then perhaps an increase moving forward. All right. So that's a pretty good sign. I like when we see that. That really just tells us that we're in overall pretty good shape here to see more consistent growth. And I would venture to guess when we look at the shorter time frames, we'll see some higher highs and higher lows followed by short periods of consolidation. So looking at the 15-minute chart, this is my favorite chart just for a blended average of day trading and swing trading. You never want to combine the two, but I like to look at the 15 as confirmation for both. So before I take an entry on the 4-hour chart, I look for confirmation on the 15. Inverse as well. Before I take entry on the 1-minute chart, I verify I have confirmation on the 15 as well. All right, so regardless of that fact here, what do we see here that's a positive? And let me go ahead and remove these moving averages because the simple moving averages don't work very effectively on the 15-minute charts. I like to use the EMA 15 and the actual VWAP line here. All right, so the VWAP is this blue line that's basically telling us the volume weighted average price. Basically, that's 24 hours of volume expressed as a price. This is where the price should be, is at $3.32. Whereas the price is currently right around $3.72. So do you see this large variance here from VWAP to price action? That is why we saw retracement. That is 36% above what the average volume price should be. So that is a significant deviation. These are standard deviation lines, by the way, the top and bottom. Anytime you see it break above, there's a likelihood of a retracement. Okay, so that's why I like these deviation lines for VWAP. They really help you understand kind of if something's overextended. And you use that in combination with the RSI. As you can see, the RSI is coming up. So a good selling point is when the RSI is coming back down and hits this 70. It kind of comes back down under 70, then you can kind of sell your position before it comes back down too far, but also while it's still above and overextended. Right? So just a little pro tip for you there, but generally speaking, the 15-minute chart does tell us that this is a bull run. In other words, we do see higher highs, like there's a high, 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 followed by higher lows. Now, bear in mind, this is not a higher high. So this could be a shift, it could be a reversal, so to speak, to come back down. Doesn't mean it's going to happen per se, because on the 4-hour chart, we did see that the 200-day moving average is working as a resistance line. So it could be just going sideways for a while until it breaks above. But my guess here is that the price action will still consolidate for probably another couple of hours and then try to test the 200-day moving average again on the 4-hour chart to break above and hold above. If we can get it to hold above, I think I wouldn't say sky's the limit, but we should expect to see a range of $4.50 to $7 as the new expected price range. But for now, price is above EMA and the VWAP line, so it is potentially a good consideration for entry. But let me go ahead and explain what I mean by that. Because on the 15-minute chart, if you're going to take entry on the 15, you want to wait for confirmation. Me personally, I always wait for two solid green bars, or at least one solid green bar followed by a doji candle. In other words, when you see this here, for example, let me go ahead and give you a better look here. These are the two solid green bars I'm referring to that are above VWAP and they're above EMA. So it's typically a good sign for confirmation. Okay. Now again, it can be difficult to be patient that long to wait for that, and it could very well reverse on you too. So you do want to be mindful of how that works, and also make sure that if you take entry, you take a smaller position and wait for further confirmation. So I'd probably take just say a 30% position here, then I'd maybe add to my position here as we continue to increase in price. But again, you want to be mindful of the fact that the price is above these standard deviation lines, and to ensure that you pay close attention, because again, the RSI is over 70 and you want to kind of keep an eye on it, right? Because just because the RSI comes up over 70 doesn't mean you have to sell it, but it does mean you want to pay attention and ensure that you're setting a good stop loss ratio. And hypothetically, add to your position here, you'd want to set a stop loss just above that as the price goes up. So that is kind of my insight there. Again, that's just a general concept of what I would do and how I'd use it. Moving forward, also keep in mind the EMA line, this red line, is an exponential moving average. It works very well I believe the 15 works very well on the 15-minute chart. And it really tells us when the price is bullish or bearish, right? So right now, the price is testing the EMA line. So if it bounces and holds above for just say another 15 to 30 minutes, we get some green candles here, we'll be looking to be in pretty good shape. Okay, let's take a quick peek at the 1 minute chart and just to quickly identify here. Again, the 1 minute chart is definitely something you want to utilize, even if you are just say a swing trader, just so you can understand, kind of a more fine-tuned entry point. Because right now you see the price is under EMA. In other words, it's under EMA here, and on the 15 it's testing. So there's a likelihood of the price coming back down further. So pay attention to the 1 minute chart, see how much lower this goes. If the price doesn't test and try to come above the EMA line here, then your secondary support would be the VWAP line. So just say we continue to lose EMA and it keeps coming down, you'd wait to see how the price action responds to the volume weighted average price line, the VWAP line, the blue line here. Again, just some things to note, but again, my prediction here for Bitcoin Diamond is that it will essentially surpass the $4.50 range based on its history and how it always averages itself out roughly 50% of its increase. Okay, so to summarize there, if you see these candles, every time it jumps up, it usually tries to consolidate about halfway down. It lost that consolidation because of everything that happened recently. So if we can get the actual price from Bitcoin to be sideways for just say 2 or 3 days, then I could almost guarantee that we're going to see the price come above 450 and stay above 450. Again, it really just depends on how Bitcoin performs. Today's movement makes sense based on how Bitcoin bounced back, but it also makes sense that the price is much lower than it should be considering its history. And those are things I like to look at, which is why we look at the 1 day chart and Bitcoin first to understand the big picture. So if you found benefit from this, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Feel free to reach out through Telegram or my Patreon account if you'd like to show your support. I actually have a Signal group I'm working on. I'm actually fine-tuning that within the next week or two. I'll have that released, and it's going to be an available option through my Patreon account as a premium paid membership, of course. Now, I do that because it's going to take a lot of time. It takes a lot of effort to have a Signal group, and with me dedicating that much time, I need to make sure it's successful. I've had a lot of requests for it recently from my community, so that's the main reason I'm doing it. But I need to make sure it's worth my time and effort as well. And if it does take off, then I'll be able to dedicate my time, do live streams every single day moving forward, and we'll all be in very, very good shape. At least, better, more well-informed, if that makes sense. Because I really enjoy doing this. I just don't have a ton of time for it, and I will have more time moving forward again if that takes off. So thank you in advance for your support, and also to my community for being so awesome. You're all great. Really appreciate you guys and gals. You're fantastic. Very last thing, I do have live streams on the weekends now where we just do kind of they're coin chats essentially, where we just kind of randomly pick analysis, and I go ahead and analyze online electronically, however you want to look at it, and do it all live for you, of course. So those are on the weekends. I'm just trying to figure out Saturday or Sunday what works best. Nonetheless, thanks again for your time. Hope you all have a great rest of your day. We'll see you in the next video. Take care.